Today's gospel is from John chapter 6. It's a very challenging, Eucharistic discourse, the bread of life discourse in John's gospel. And in there, Jesus has a large crowd following him, and they're looking for another miracle of multiplication of loaves and fish, free meal. And Jesus says, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, and my flesh is real food, my blood is real drink, you have no life in me. And that tested the faith of the people that were with him. And a lot of them left. They thought it was either disgusting or Jesus is out of his mind. How can this possibly be? And Jesus didn't, as they were leaving, didn't say, wait. I'm talking, in a philosophical terms where, this bread becomes an accident and Jesus is really in the bread, and he didn't go into any of that. He doubles down, and he says it again. He says, verily, truly, I tell to you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. And so, a lot of people left because they couldn't take that statement. Now, the church, through the centuries, has affirmed the true presence, body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus in the Eucharist. And great saints like St. Thomas Aquinas have told us that, that is Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. And even Vatican II reaffirmed again presence of Jesus in the Eucharist, body, blood, soul, and divinity. Now, our bishop, if he had to say what's his legacy, it's evangelization. And he wants us to be evangelizers, wants us to bring people into the church, that grow the church. Not only new people or converts, but he wants us to get fallen away Catholics back into the church. That's called the new evangelization. That's one of the biggest churches around is fallen away Catholics. And he says that one of the biggest tools that we have for evangelization is the Eucharist. And certainly you think about that, and it's nourishment for us, gives us strength. But for somebody coming into the faith or back to the faith, when they realize what the Eucharist is, Jesus does the rest. Jesus pulls them on in. Now, on the diocesan website, the bishop has a little video there, and he talks about Eucharistic miracles in his life that he's experienced. And one of them is when he was like a regular priest in Texas, and he's having Mass, and he's consecrating the Eucharist. And he said it was like there was an explosion of grace that came out of the host. And he described the grace going to each person in the congregation like lightning bolts coming out from the Eucharist, not only for his congregation that was there in the church at the time, but all those that were outside the church as well. And it's pretty powerful if you want to go look at that. And then he goes on to another set of miracles where his deceased parents are with him when he's doing the Eucharistic prayer, one on his left and one on his right. He says it's very emotional when he sees that. And he says sometimes they bring their friends, so other saints in heaven show up with him. So it's really, if you get a chance to go on the website and look at that, that's worth it. Now, a couple of years ago, there was a survey done, so maybe 4 or 5 years ago, of Catholics, how many believe in the true presence of Jesus in the Eucharist? And it was alarming. It was like 50%, half, And so the church mustered up, we got to do something about this. And so they started Eucharistic revival. And we're in our second year of Eucharistic revival. And part of that is somebody coming to our church and telling us about Eucharistic miracles. Okay, and it happened at St. Rose. Their turn was last Sunday, and our turn is this weekend. And a guy, Rick Molesby, was going to be coming, and he's going to bring 50 posters or 60 posters of Eucharistic miracles that have occurred through the centuries and put them around the church so we can go and look at them and examine them. And he's going to talk as well about those Eucharistic miracles. There's many more than that, but 60 posters is a lot to absorb. So, but he'll speak about the commonality in these Eucharistic miracles. One is like the blood type. It's AB and all these things. It's always the same blood type. And then in our day and age, we can do genetic testing. And the genetic testing reveals that it's somebody from the Jerusalem area. Same type of genes there. And when they look at the flesh of the host that is turned from bread to flesh, true flesh, it's heart flesh, which is, oh my gosh, it just blows you away. So this weekend at Mass, when you come, plan to spend a couple extra minutes and pick out one or two of those posters and read them. And they've all been thoroughly investigated, these Eucharistic miracles. And they're from like as far back as the 8th century. But read them, pick one or two that you like and investigate it. See what you think. And let it build your faith and strengthen your faith. Amen.